Decisions, boundaries, rules, death, honor, and ambitions. Start with decisions. You basically are the mouse cursor to your own life. One of the things that Giguk says, or Garnt, whichever one you use for his name, when he was an anime YouTuber, but anime reviewing YouTuber, but then he still makes slice life content as in realistic life discussions content. That one video where he talks about his biggest regret in his 20s, story time with Garnt, he says in the middle somewhere that the best thing about being an adult is that no one tells you what to do, but the worst thing about being an adult is that no one tells you what to do. And that you basically, and even a little bit ahead of that, he says that um, nothing will change your life unless you change it yourself, and that's to my own spiritual and philosophical understanding. That's at least half true, not completely, but actions involved, but not always. Not even thinking is only involved, but people think that thinking doesn't have to only work by itself, and that's selling it short, but a little different. Thinking and action altogether, but but together, I guess you'd say. There's a truth to how being your own cursor in your own life. Hence, when I made the objective subjective series, Cursor Saga, the Cursor Saga, I was trying to explain that being your own cursor makes you delve into more objectiveness than even what a subjective beauty would be, and that would be something. Because objective things can be beautiful, subjective things can be action oriented, but a little different. You basically have to make enough decisions for yourself that even if you take the so-called wrong path, you can still make things work and learn from them and all that. So just, you have to be able to decide. You have to be willing to make decisions for things, even if you're not ready for them, even if you don't know where to actually go, even if you don't know what, even doing something well without it being the right thing supposedly, or even making a decision for something that seems like the only way you could do it and still gets criticized for that. It's all different for that matter. But decision making is important, even if you only have a goal for something that's not realistic or something. Could we all be different? I'll be all even that. So bigger than that, I'll be. So boundaries. If it wasn't enough to make decisions for how you control your own autonomy, imagine the people who hold privacy to a high enough regard that whether or not it's fair for them or fair for you, it still happens to be there. People have a right to have privacy for things that they may not take too well for granted or even too much for granted, but they have those rights either way, and we have to respect that. If someone has to hold you back from doing something that you have to do, or something that you're just trying to do to be productive, or even something that you do for your own moral compass, and all those things are against their privacy and boundaries, you have to respect and honor that, which we'll get to honor in a second. But boundaries are pretty cruel and wicked in their own ways. People have really weird ways of seeing curiosity and interest in hobbies and boundaries and privacy. People have really crooked and wicked ways of seeing how they control what they're curious and interested in, and inviting an opportunity for when it should have already been done something about, or even a need that supposed desperation thing. Boundaries can be wicked. Boundaries can be very wicked, but they're necessary rights, and we have to respect them. We have to, and if as a matter of fact, we should maintain our own boundaries if we don't have them already. But the different foster a different time, I guess. We can even discuss time in this video. We have time. We can talk. Oh, we can talk about time in a different video. But on to the next OTTN after boundaries. Sorry, but we're going through this a little differently. So that was decisions and boundaries, rules. Oh my gosh, the laws and rules, man. Not even just the things I did right or wrong, but even the things that happened to me in the first place. People have an eternally correct, factual, guaranteed, prove or prove not, guarantee not way of seeing the world. It's like when people judge the facts and they don't realize that they can do that, that can be a really its own problem, logically, emotionally, or morally. But the ethics and morals being different, I guess. But the laws and rules, I never ahead of time for any number of these things, including laws and rules. When I entered this life, I thought at first, oh, the laws and rules are just what they are. They're just defined, defineless. The laws and rules are just there. If you have to follow the rules, you might as well. But then my perspective changes because of how I go about the laws and rules automatically and subconsciously. And it's like on purpose and on accident and all that other stuff. And then now I'm like, okay, not necessarily fuck the rules, but more like, I mean, I'm a bit my own person for other things. You can go on my channel, Monster, if you want more about that. Weekly Not Judge, not mentioning that word just yet. Anarchism. um, it's like more like a thing where I've experienced it differently, so now I have to see that laws and rules differently because of that, even when I didn't voluntarily have that. In case the decisions and boundaries for that didn't work out well. But laws and rules, man, oh my gosh. Not so much following them, not so much, they're easy to follow, they're objective, you must follow them. Or they're objective fact, moral, emotion thing, it's just, what the hell. But yeah, rules. And we'll get into death. So, thanatophobia is a weird thing. People, it has a different, of all the fears that are out there, it's not the worst one, honestly. Not capping, but it has a very unique flavor for one thing. It also has a very unique approach to Memento Mori styles and Unus Annus. It's just not. It's not supposed to be like the only worst fear or even the worst fear at all. Cost. It doesn't have to be. Everyone's different, but even arachnophobia and freaking claustrophobia are different kinds of fears. But any fear, even however serious or silly you could see those fears, are objective versus subjective, but they're different. The reason that fear of death comes across as being an important fear is because it helps people re-harness the idea of making the most of their lives and living life to the fullest, even if they should just do what they want and have fun and be peaceful, with or without the conga line being important for that. They can take inventory for that philosophy, but the conga line of the perils of living life or philosophy. So, should we say that artists don't have to be because creativity doesn't have to be escapism? That could be another video as well. Creativity doesn't have to be escapism, but creativity has been escapism before, where artists prove that time is flexible and that art is beautiful, but you still die anyway. So it's like, what's the point? But it still can be different. So it's like, there's a lot of meaning in life that exists with or without the spiritual philosophical aspects, but the death being there, the time up aspect being there, it's a little different. But even as a moral person who will probably die in 74 years, I'm not saying that to cap. It's just that it's just not going to be like any different from that. But just but death, yeah. I can get into more of that later if I die right now. but seriously though, it's like after that we got honor and ambition. So honor first. Honor. I made a phrase one time. Honor curse. It was about the idea of being prejudiced by someone who had good intentions. In a nutshell, and that can suck. I delved into more in the older videos, but I can update that if I can. Because basically the honor curse was like someone has the good intention of understanding you and they still screw you over. It's like it's a very, very good method. There's more to that, obviously. In my own experiences, that's why I made that philosophical phrase. But there you go. There you go. Honor in general, though, is not supposed to be a bad thing. Loyalty is not slavery. Being a freaking good person is not supposed to be a controversial thing in itself. But being normal in this day and age can be weird. Even if I'm the kind of person who says, "Oh, SJWs don't exist," information age is misconstrued. The strongman argument doesn't always happen as often people think it does. Different philosophies of that. But however, as honorable as it is to be a good person, it is also honorable to be true to yourself. Thank you, Quentin's Limitless. And being the person who can be authentic without compromising all sacrifice. When you can be the person who does sacrifice and conform for the right reason without only being that way. But that works for that. So, and we finally got ambitions. There is this weird contrast between ambition and normalcy. Being a normal, simple living person isn't bad, but being a ambitious, high-stakes person isn't bad either. Depends on how you choose to live your life. Live and let live as per boundaries and decisions can be weird. We shouldn't let go of all responsibility and forego all accountability, but at the same time, we can be balanced a little bit more. Not only balance is key, because sometimes balance is a bad thing, because addictions and freaking addictions as a taboo and freaking not guaranteed forbidden, but you know how that works. Addictions as a taboo, and then a full throttle would be survival, like food, shelter, and water. But balance is key otherwise. And we can balance food, shelter, and water. We can balance addictions. Depends how we approach our normalcy and mundanity and modernity and even moderation. But if moderation is key. But the idea being that when we are ambitious, we are not trying to avoid normalcy and simple living. We're just trying to make a name for ourselves in a way that we believe in, even if we lose. Rather die trying than never try at all. But like kind of thing. Sounds simple enough, but if it's cliche, it's still true somehow. But as we go for the last minute of this video, I can close anyways on 1 minute if I can. Ambition's not a bad thing. Being a normal, simple living person is not a bad thing. When you have a normal life, you have air conditioning over your head, roof over your head, it's not supposed to be a bad thing, but it has merits to itself when you can not need to be ambitious, but not be desperate for normal living. It's a balancing act. As I said before, balance is not always key, but that's my own controversial philosophy. And yeah, decisions, boundaries, rules, death, honor, and ambitions. Take care, everyone. Stay still, because stop motion is indeed still on the move. It really is, not gonna lie. We might do a tarot reading at some point. We might do a vlog, edited video project at some point. We're gonna try to do a bigger scale claymation project at some point, and we're also gonna do more live streams in the future that reboot that, as well as other shorts and videos and other stuff. Keep me posted as well. Take care, guys. Love you go. All across in Coco.